The soft hum of the afternoon was broken by the delicate chime of the diner door. For most, it was nothing, just a small sound that blended into the rhythm of the day. But for one man, it was thunder. When Ryan Cross stepped inside that spotless chrome and yellow diner after 5 long years drifting from town to town, he expected nothing but a meal and a quiet corner. What he didn't expect was to find his mother, the woman who once held his whole world together, standing there, trembling beneath another man's raised voice. Ryan stopped dead on the black and white tiles. His boots felt glued to the floor as he stared. She looked older, smaller somehow, her faded pink uniform clinging loosely to a body worn down by time and work. The manager, a man in a pressed black vest and too much authority, jabbed his finger at the table she was wiping. Her hands shook as she obeyed, eyes cast down, lips pressed tight to hold back whatever words she wanted to say. Ryan's jaw locked, his fists tightening at his sides. He'd faced fights, fire, and funerals, but nothing in all his years hit as hard as this, seeing his mother's pride stripped away in front of strangers. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because sometimes, the smallest stories hold the biggest truths about love, pain, and redemption. 5 years earlier, Ryan had left this town like a storm, angry, lost, and desperate to escape the poverty that seemed to choke every dream he had. His father had died young, and his mother, Martha Cross, had worked herself raw, double shifts in diners, cleaning laundry late into the night, all to keep their little apartment and the lights on. Ryan couldn't stand watching her struggle anymore. He told her he was leaving to find a better life. But what he found instead was miles of open road, the taste of dust, and a loneliness that no freedom could fix. He rode with men who asked no questions, brothers bound by loyalty and noise, their engines louder than their hearts. They gave him belonging, but not peace. Because every night, when the road grew quiet and the stars hung low, he could still hear her voice, soft and worried. "Come home safe, Ryan." And deep down, he always knew she feared he never would. Now, in that diner, time stood still. The manager's voice cracked the silence again. "Do it right this time, Martha," he barked, slamming his hand on the counter. Ryan noticed how the customers looked away, pretending not to see. But he saw it all, the shake in her shoulders, the redness in her tired eyes, the quiet way she swallowed her pride just to survive another day. He wanted to move, to speak, to defend her, but guilt weighed him down. For years he'd been running, afraid she'd see in his face the man he'd become, not the son she remembered. Then, the sound of boots echoed behind him. 3 of his biker brothers stepped inside, rough men with heavy footsteps and heavier hearts. The chatter in the diner faded. Sunlight caught the patches on their black vests as they stood behind him, silent and steady, like a storm forming at his back. Ryan drew a deep breath. His mother turned, startled by the stillness. Her eyes met his for the first time in half a decade. Confusion crossed her face, then disbelief, and finally, tears. She looked down quickly, but it was too late. He was already walking toward her, each step a bridge over years of distance. The manager frowned, folding his arms. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" he said sharply, unaware of who he was speaking to. Ryan didn't answer. His voice was buried under 5 years of guilt and love. He reached his mother, took the rag from her trembling hand, set it gently on the counter, and turned toward the man who'd been shouting. "You don't talk to her like that," Ryan said quietly. His tone wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. The air in the diner shifted. The manager blinked, his confidence faltering. She missed a spot," he stammered. Ryan took a step closer, his height and calm enough to stop the man cold. "Then clean it yourself," he said softly. "She's done enough." Silence filled the diner. The only sound was the soft hiss of the coffee machine behind the counter. The manager's pride shrank into awkward fear, and after a tense moment, he stepped back without a word. Ryan turned back to his mother. She stood frozen, tears streaking her face. He didn't care that everyone was watching. He reached out, touched her shoulder, and whispered, "I'm sorry, Mom." Her lips trembled. "Ryan, I thought you were gone." He shook his head. "I tried to be," he said quietly, voice shaking. "But I couldn't stay away forever." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, with her voice breaking, she whispered, "I kept your room the same." That one sentence shattered him more than any punch or wound ever could. All these years, he'd been running from home, but she'd never closed the door. She'd waited. They sat in that yellow booth for hours, talking softly while his biker brothers stood near the door, keeping quiet. Ryan listened as she told him how she'd kept working, paying rent, never asking for help, never telling anyone her son was gone. She'd prayed for him every night, even when she had no reason to believe he'd return. When it was time to leave, she dabbed at her tears with a napkin, trying to smile. Ryan stood and wrapped his arm around her shoulders. "You don't have to clean tables anymore, Mom," he said gently. "You're coming home." The manager stayed silent, shame written across his face, as they walked toward the door. Sunlight spilled into the diner, painting the floor gold, like the world was starting over. Outside, Ryan's motorcycle gleamed beneath the bright blue sky. He helped his mother onto the bike as if she was something fragile, something sacred. When she smiled, it wasn't tired anymore, it was proud. His biker brothers revved their engines in quiet respect. The townspeople watched as the son who'd once lost his way found his reason to stay. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because kindness can change lives, and love can always bring someone home. As the engines roared and the diner shrank behind them, Ryan didn't look back. Not because he was running again, but because, for the first time in years, he was finally free. For 5 long years, he'd been a man without direction. But that day, he found his compass again. And it pointed straight to his mother.